What is it, tuberculosis?
You know what? They are doing just fine, but they need to stay home.
This house is sure gone crazy.
Greetings, movie flicker pickers and podcast listeners. This is the Pic-a-Flic podcast, a series where I, your host, the Western Wonder, reviews a variety of old and new film and TV the best way that I know how. For this episode, I'll be reviewing one of the most acclaimed horror flicks of the year. When I mean acclaimed, I'm talking Oscar buzz levels of acclaim. That movie happens to be none other than Zach Cregger's Weapons, a project so ambitious that Jordan Peele is still punching the air every time it gets mentioned around him. And for some reason, I thought it would be an action movie based on the title alone. Now the question is, how does it hold up for yours truly? Stay tuned in a bit, but first, let me explain the plot for listeners unfamiliar with the film. One night, in a rural Pennsylvania town, approximately 17 children turned up missing overnight, leaving the townsfolk concerned about their well-being. A lot of heavy, damning accusations are being leveled against her school teacher, Justine Gandy, played by Julia Garner, who decides to do some investigating of her own. And the biggest clue could involve a kid named Alex, the only one in her class who wasn't impacted by the disappearing act. Other characters involved in the story who get their side plots told in different segments of sorts include Marcus, played by Benedict Wong, the school principal who tries to convince Justine to lay low and avoid any deep dives into the case. Paul, played by Alden Ehrenreich, a cop in the next of Justine's who is probably one of the only people that's supportive towards her. James, played by Abrams, a homeless crackhead who's fending for a new scheme that Paul is trying to shake up. And Archer, played by Brolin, a contractor who happens to be a parent to one of the missing kids and is willing to take matters into his own hands. As the final act unravels, the villain starts to come into place, but I'll reserve an entire segment about that character as I give you my thoughts on the movie, with some mild spoilers thrown around, just as a heads up. I'll start off by saying this. Weapons isn't your average horror movie. There are multiple genres and themes within the film that I wouldn't necessarily classify as a hardcore horror film. There are some mystery elements to it, in the form of Justine and Archer looking for clues to resolve the case, some drama elements, in the form of some of the character arcs, and even some comedic elements to it, in the form of the Tom and Jerry-esque back and forth between James and Paul. So all in all, it is a bit of an emotional ride. Now, I was a bit of a skeptic at first. The movie has a bit of a slow burn kind of thing happening, and slow burn content, personally for me, can be hit or miss. And as someone with an attention span that can range from locked in to...
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service.
It can be tough. But as the mystery started to unravel itself, I was locked in, thankfully. Take that, long legs. Seeing the perspective of the different characters as the story progressed made things even more immersive than I was expecting it to be. But ultimately, it made the payoff more than worth it in the grand scheme of things. The creative tenacity of director Zach Cregger is pretty unique with the variety of things being tossed around. Now, I think that the viewer can find parallels to some former horror movies, and that's ambiguous enough that it could not just be one movie it could have been inspired by, but multiple. Now, me personally, the first thing that I can think of, and I shit you not, was Scooby-Doo. I can't quite explain it, but the whodunit aspect reminded me of it, but obviously with a darker edge to it. Now, this was my first time watching Cregger's work. Despite hearing some raves about his previous horror run-up, Barbarian, I just never found the time to give it a watch, but I'll see to it that it changes soon. But I was absolutely impressed with the way certain scenes were shot and the cinematography just clicked together. The cast also added to the film's overall quality. Julia Garner was a solid lead here in the role of Justine. To compare it to a recent horror movie I saw her in, which I believe was, Wolfman, her character had more substance and depth versus the other one, despite the actress herself being fine in both. The supporting cast here is great as well. Brolin plays it straight until the conflict intensifies and he has to go a little crazy. Benedict Wong also similarly plays his character that way too, straight-faced, but when shit hits the fan, he goes berserk. Which makes me think that, based off of one scene that he has here, he could have easily fit in the remake for The Running Man. I mean, his run was made for him to be in a movie like that. Brolin could have made a call to Edgar Wright. Then there's Alden Abrams, who plays a deranged crackhead, so there's really no way for him to play straight. But he has some funny quips in there going against Alden Ehrenreich's Paul. But there are two victors that stand out amongst the cast, the first being Cary, the kid actor who plays Alex. Once you read into this kid's story and all the things that he had to go through during this, you feel bad for him immediately. And the child actor does a good job expressing his emotions in a subtle, not overly showy kind of way. The second standout happens to be the villain behind this whole scheme set up by Todd, and her name is Aunt Gladys, played by Amy Madigan. From the second this woman appeared on screen, alarm bells started ringing for me, and the world's finest supply of fish stopped swimming. And considering how she operates in witchcraft, she could very well be the cause of it. But along with Remick from Sinners, Aunt Gladys is probably one of the most menacing horror movie villains of the year. Like, imagine an entity that could just jump into your family unprovoked, take over and shake the table in the worst way possible, and this is that lady. It's a further testament to the actress's talent that the character looks more terrifying out of makeup than in it. While on the one hand, makeup-free Auntie G looks like Helen Mirren, she joins the group of older women who could probably tell you to your face.
I can smell your nappy pussy.
Nonetheless, a very fascinating character who will apparently have a deeper dive on the lore since a supposed prequel is currently in the works. A no-brainer given that she's the only major character with a medium amount of screen time without an official segment devoted to her. For obvious reasons, of course. And as for that ending, phew. On the one hand, talk about a wild, bloody conclusion for Miss Gladys. But on the other, I kind of felt a little bit underwhelmed after all that. I kind of wish we got a few more minutes focusing on the aftermath of the case and how things resolved, but that's just me. All in all, on the Pic-a-Flic rating scale, Weapons gets a surefire 4 out of 5 popcorn buckets from me. The slow burn during the first half was making me tap in and out, but the payoff was more than worth it at the end. The performances from the cast was great, cinematography and direction was well done, and overall I had a lot of fun with it, which makes me want to conclude this episode with these words. Let people enjoy what movies they want to enjoy. I'm seeing a lot of back and forth on the social interwebs about which horror movie was better this year. Some people, such as I, are still standing by Sinners, while others are sticking with Weapons. I've even seen individuals prefer neither film and pick a wild card favorite of theirs, like body horror film Together, or the Jordan Peele-produced sports-themed flick Him. But at the end of the day, folks are going to have different picks over which film they like better, and outside of healthy debating is never worth losing any sleep over. But that's just my 2 cents on the matter. At least none of us are ages for Jordan Peele, which we found audio of his reaction as he fired someone for funneling weapons.
Boy, I done told you. Next time I tell you,
That's a wrap on this review, but I would not like to present a special preview for what to expect this month for spooky Halloween season on the show. Roll tape. This month on the Pic-a-Flic podcast, we have a lineup of movie reviews that's sure to give you a thrill. On the menu, vampires, music, and 2 Michael B. Jordans take center stage in Ryan Coogler's Sinners. A childhood heirloom goes insane in a film adaptation of Stephen King's The Monkey. One of the smoothest mother seeks his wife in 70s blaxploitation flick Blackula, and an alien transvestite from Transylvania changes the lives of a precocious engaged couple in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. All those reviews and more is coming your way exclusively on the Pic-a-Flic podcast. Be there, or you're a dead square. If you want to be in the know from when new episodes are out, make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to said shows, and tell a friend to tell another friend who knows another friend who knows that friend down the street to check out the podcast. All support and feedback is appreciated. If you're listening on YouTube and you enjoyed this episode, make sure you smash the like button, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. And also, if you want to follow the show on social media, we can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok under the username handle at Pic-a-Flic Pod. That is at PICAFLICPOD. And if review logging is your thing, then you may be familiar with Letterboxd, where you can also find non-audio exclusive reviews I do under the aforementioned Pic-a-Flic Pod username handle. So be sure to follow me there if you use that platform. I'm definitely planning to go crazy with the horror movies for the month of October, so there'll be a lot of text exclusives there. Once again, thank you all for tuning in for this episode and the show in general, and to the next one. This is the Western Wonder, and I'm signing out. Peace.
Bye, have a great time.